Welcome back everyone. Guess what? The Google Pixel 5a came out, as a majority of you people know. So let's go ahead and compare it to one of the most controversial Google Pixels that ever came out, which was actually the Google Pixel 3 XL. Now, I'm a fan of the Pixel lineup. They are easily, I think now, my favorite versions of Androids or Android phones that have come out. Even though they don't have really the most amount of features or anything, they are still beautiful phones and I'm such huge fans of them. And the Pixel 3 XL was a very interesting device. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these things, I probably won't leave a 3 XL, but I'll leave like a Pixel 5, 5a, and maybe a 4a or something. If you want to get those phones, you can get them from the link down below and help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the front, the Pixel 3 XL has a little bit smaller of a display. It's a 6.3-inch POLED display. It's 1440p, and that display actually wasn't that bad. It was pretty much everything surrounding the display. So not only did you have a huge notch up top that just protruded like crazy, and I don't understand how Google even did this, but you also had a little bit of a bezel on the bottom too. So it had the strangest design. I've never seen a phone look like this at this, highlight of a level. I mean, the Pixel lineup at that time was pretty popular. It was one of like 4 Android phones that you look forward to throughout the year at a large scale, and they kind of dropped the ball at this one, and it kind of had a ricochet effect for the whole entire longevity of the Pixel lineup up until like the Pixel 4a. Now with the Pixel 5a, on the other hand, you have a 6.34-inch panel. Now it's OLED as well, but it is a 1080p panel, so a little bit of a lower resolution, but that panel looks better than the 3 XL in terms of a phone, like looking at it head on. You have a hole punch display and it looks much better. Like I mentioned, I think both probably feel around the same way in the hand, but that Pixel 5a does look better. There's no bezel around it for the most part. There's a little bit of bezel obviously, but you have that hole punch display, which looks very good on the front of that phone. Now you have USB Type-C on both. You do have the headphone jack on the Pixel 5a, which feels really good, and on the back you have the, I guess plastic glass back on the back of the 3 XL, where you have the metal back on the Pixel 5a. So you do have, I think, maybe a more premium feeling phone a little bit on the Pixel 5a, even though I think the 3 XL probably has a little bit more going for it. Like, it's kind of like a tie here. So in terms of the outside, those are the main things. You do have IP certification. You do have a lot of similarity because the displays are so similar in size, but I would give the edge to the Pixel 5a for definitely looking far better than the Pixel 3 XL without a doubt. Now you do have the camera setups on the back of both of these phones. Now the Pixel 3 XL has that single 12.2 megapixel wide-angle lens, where that Pixel 5a has that dual camera setup. So it has a 12.2 megapixel wide-angle lens, then a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. And both these cameras, I will tell you, for their day and age, were pretty good. Obviously the 5a is the better one now, but that 3 XL at that time was pretty decent. And I remember that year a lot of people hyping it up. The main disadvantage, I think, in this day and age for this camera is probably the lack of 4K at 60 and the lack of 8K, but specifically the lack of 4K at 60. That is like the average base feature that a lot of phones have nowadays, and a lot of budget phones have it this year, including the Pixel 5a, because that one does have 4K at 60 capability. You also lack things that the Pixel 5a has on the 3 XL, like a ultra-wide sensor. So those are the main things, but funny enough, you actually do have an ultra-wide sensor on the 3 XL, except it's on the front. The front cameras on both of these are very interesting. The 5a has that single 8 megapixel wide-angle lens. On the Pixel 3 XL, you have a wide-angle lens, but you also have an ultra-wide sensor on the front. And I remember them kind of showcasing this, and they were able to zoom out and get more people into like a photo. I don't understand why they took this away. I feel like more manufacturers should start putting in a camera sensor like this, because that's really awesome. And I'm glad the 3 XL actually put that on their phone. I'm surprised they put it on the front and not the back, even though in 2018, I mean, since 2016, iPhones have had dual camera setups on the back. So it's weird Pixel just then, like in the 4 and 4 XL, put it in. But I feel like when it comes down to a camera standpoint, the Pixel 5a is probably the better camera here. Even though you do have an ultra-wide sensor on the front of the 3 XL, I think the 5a is probably the winner in terms of the camera standpoint. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up in the camera side of things. Now, another pretty big advantage that you have on both of these phones is software. They're both stock software, which is beautiful. I love seeing those things. Now, the Pixel 3 XL, I think, is completely outdated now or something like that. But here's the thing with both these phones. When you have a phone like a Pixel lineup, there's always going to be a lot of people who are going to buy these phones typically, and a lot of them are developers in some ways. So because of that, Google makes it very easy for you to develop custom ROMs for phones like these. So with the 3XL, I guarantee you when Android 15 comes out many years ago and the 3XL is not officially supported anymore, there are going to be developers who make ROMs for the Pixel 3 XL still. So that's a massive advantage that you have on both. Stock software though, like updates straight from Google, the Pixel 5a is going to, or it's already outlasting the Pixel 3 XL. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm not like a huge, proponent on just upgrading for no reason for a phone, but software is one of those things that typically makes me upgrade my phone time and time again. And I will tell you with the 3 XL, if you're not comfortable custom ROMing your phone, then you really don't have much of a choice. You're going to have to go pick up a Pixel 5a to get all those cool features and that. But, typically the Pixels are, they have security updates too, which is great. But the Pixel 5a definitely wins in terms of a, update standpoint. On top of that though, another huge advantage that you have on something like a Pixel 5a is the battery. The Pixel 3 XL had a 3,430 mAh battery, where the Pixel 5a has that 4,680 mAh battery. So that phone has a much bigger size battery on it than the Pixel 3 XL. Now, is that a big difference? Absolutely. That is a massive size battery, one of the biggest size batteries I've seen on a budget phone like this. But here is the other thing to keep in mind. With the Pixel 3 XL, you do have wireless charging on the device, which is really cool. I don't know why the Pixel 5a doesn't have it. It seems like it's the cheapest thing nowadays, but I'm actually kind of against wirelessly charging my phones now because it degrades the battery like crazy. So another thing to keep in mind, but it's really not that big of a deal. So in terms of that covers it up in the battery standpoint. Now let's go ahead and end it off with the performance. The Google Pixel 3 XL had that Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 chipset, an Adreno 630 GPU, and 4 gigs of RAM on the both models that came out with, where the Pixel 5a has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset, an Adreno 620 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM. Now this is what I'll tell you about the Pixel 3 XL first. The 3 XL, in my opinion, that performance at that time was actually pretty good. It was a very smooth phone. This was, I think, right before phones with like 90Hz panels and 120Hz panels started coming out. This phone actually had a very solid, chipset inside of it at that time. It was pretty fast, and although the RAM wasn't like crazy high, it was a good amount of RAM to have on a Pixel like that, because you don't really need a lot of, performance and a lot of hardware to run stock Android, which is really good. Now with the 5a, on the other hand, this is definitely the faster performing phone. Even though some people may think that chipset is better on the Pixel 3 XL, it really isn't. Even though the, Pixel 5a has a little bit of a watered down chipset, it is still a really good performing phone. And you do actually have more RAM on the Pixel 5a than the Pixel 3 XL. So that is another cool advantage that you have on the 5a over the 3 XL. So I'm really happy about that phone, and overall, the performance side of things, whether you're doing light gaming, heavy gaming, all that stuff, you are going to be getting a much better experience, in my opinion, on something like a Pixel 5a than on the Pixel 3 XL. I think the 3 XL's performance is still actually kind of interesting because it's really not that bad of a performing phone, even in this day and age, but without a doubt, the better phone would definitely be the Pixel 5a, in my opinion. So in terms of that, and in terms of, I guess, the performance comparison, that covers it up there. Now to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you go and buy a Pixel 3 XL? Should you buy a Pixel 5a? I'm going to tell you, the Google Pixel 5a is definitely the better way to go. It's just so much of a better phone. I think if you currently own the Pixel 3 XL, I think the Pixel 5a is a pretty interesting choice. It just came out, $450, which is a very good price tag. Your only other options in this price range are getting like a OnePlus, or like saving up and getting a Pixel 6 when those comes out. I would not go from like a Pixel 3 XL with that beautiful version of Android to something like, just to something that's a little bit less stock, in my opinion. I think the best way to go with from a Pixel 3 XL is the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro, but if you don't want to wait, or if you think those are too expensive, then getting the Pixel 5a may be that, perfect upgrade for you. You're getting maybe a better display, at least a better looking display. You're getting a way bigger size battery. You're getting a better camera setup. You're getting longer software support, and it's a faster phone than the Pixel 3 XL. So it is really a worthwhile upgrade. I think the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro are the better ways to go if you can afford it, but if not, the Pixel 5a is like that perfect upgrade for you because it's a cheap phone. You're still maintaining a lot of the same similarity features, and you're getting that stock Android, beautiful battery, beautiful cameras. It's a great phone overall, in my opinion. So in terms of that covers it up. Like I mentioned, if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links are down below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. If you guys enjoy the video, hit that like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.